It's not like you wake up on a Monday with creatine and you look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then you get to a Monday a month down the line and all of a sudden you look like, I don't know, I can't think of anyone really thin now. Robert Pattinson. Simon the Bald A-Hole here. Thank you for joining me as always. And today we're playing Simon, what's the most question you get asked at the moment? And it does come in the form of, Simon, I am currently taking creatine. I'm thinking of coming off creatine. Is this a good idea? Or if I do that, will I die? Now look, if you do happen to pass away after coming off creatine, then that's just really, really unfortunate luck. But I don't want to sit here and say it's definitely not going to happen because look, crazier things have happened in the world. But if we stick to the science and if we stick to how creatine works, no, you'll be able to come off creatine with no massive health problems. However, there is a small chance, actually quite a big chance I should say, it may affect what you're doing in the gym and, you know, how you look in terms of bodybuilding, musculature, and all of those things that we desperately crave. And before we do get into that, it probably is best to understand how creatine works. And I think a lot of people actually don't research how creatine works. They just know creatine is a long-touted, a long-promoted supplement in the world of fitness, so they should get on it. And this is actually perfectly fine because even with the long-term studies that we do have, and there's no super long-term studies because creatine is a relatively new supplement, there's nothing really to worry about. Like any side effects you are going to get is maybe some people get a little bit bloated from it, but really the worst part is that some people, they see no effect from creatine, and that's not really the end of the world. I mean, obviously it'd be better if you did, but I certainly know if I'm taking something new and I know the worst thing that could possibly happen is it's not going to do anything for me, well, that's far better than once again taking something and dropping down dead. Now, let's just leave all the life and death stuff because it's taken us down a funny road. But that's probably the first thing you want to keep in your head in terms of coming off creatine. There's every chance it wasn't actually affecting you as much as you first thought, so coming off isn't going to make a blind bit of difference. But do not forget, after you've been on creatine for around about a month, sometimes a little bit shorter, sometimes a little bit longer, it depends how long it takes to get in your system. What creatine starts to do is it starts to pull water into your muscles. So of course, if you're supplementing with it, you are going to look bigger. So let's say that you decide to come off creatine, once again, around about 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. By the time your body is balanced out, you're not going to look as big, but in many ways, this is like an aesthetic visual trick because your weight will go down and you will look smaller, but it was all water weight. It's not like you've lost a bunch of muscle. So while you may look in the mirror and freak out, going, oh my gosh, I don't look as good as I actually did, it's just that. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's just because you have probably pissed out a bunch of water. So if you're struggling with creatine for some reason and you know you can handle that, why the hell not? But what I would say is this isn't going to be a massive difference. It's not like you wake up on a Monday with creatine and you look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then you get to a Monday a month down the line and all of a sudden you look like, I don't know, I can't think of anyone really thin now. Robert Pattinson. I know why that came to my brain. It's because the Batman's coming out next week. But imagine him in Twilight, right? He was quite thin. And if you saw him next to Arnold, that's going to be quite a big, there's quite a big disparity there. That's not going to happen. And in fact, most people probably wouldn't even notice, but you will definitely probably notice a little bit as you're walking around in your day-to-day life, and you will 100% notice it when you're in the gym because, of course, you're not pulling that water in anymore. But it's not a massive deal. It's not like all of a sudden you've just become Mr. Thin. What is actually more important is that it may make you a little less explosive and it may make you a little weaker in the gym, because the other thing creatine does is that it increases your ATP level. And in short, I don't want to get too much into the science because you can go read it or watch other YouTubers. That just allows you to kick more ass in the gym. That's all it means, right? If you want to get into the really specific stuff, you certainly can, but know that if you increase your natural ATP levels, your performance in the gymnasium is going to be better. But once again, we're only talking about 1-2%. This isn't a drug. It's not steroids. So of course, if you do come off creatine, what you are probably going to notice, let's say on chest day, is that you're not benching as much as you did before. And maybe that in turn means you lose a little bit of muscle. But do I actually think that's going to happen if you're keeping up your diet and you're keeping up your intensity and you're still lifting as hard as you possibly can? No, I don't. And I think anything you did lose would be completely minimal. I mean, I could be wrong because, again, it affects everybody differently. And there certainly will be a change. Of course, there's going to be a change because if you're supplementing with something and it's working, and then all of a sudden you stop supplementing with it, all of a sudden all the benefits you did have are going to go away. So you are probably going to feel a little bit weaker in the gym because you are going to be weaker in the gym. But if for some reason you're really suffering from creatine, again, because it's bloating you or whatever, it's not going to ruin your gym life is what I'm trying to say. And some people freak out like it's going to be the end of the world, but I absolutely assure you that it's not. And no, there's been no reports of anybody coming off creatine and something absolutely bad happening to them, apart from the performance-related stuff we've talked about. But ultimately, I don't see why you would come off creatine ever. I know some people like to cycle on and off it, and if you think that works for you, that is great. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to the gym and you feel like you react well to it and you're not having any problems, 5 grams a day of creatine every single day, and you can take whatever you want. Take it in the morning, take it during the gym, after the gym. There are some benefits here and there, but I don't think you have to worry about it. But I would stay on 5 grams of creatine for all the things that we've talked about. Like, it's one of these rare supplements where it is awesome to promote and say, use it because it works. And what most people do is they ignore that because I guess it's become too obvious, and they try and find the secret sauce. There is no secret sauce. So use creatine, benefit from creatine, enjoy creatine, and just remember, you are an individual. Just because Barry, your gym friend, is seeing wonderful results off it, doesn't mean that you are going to see the same results. So weigh everything up, look at the pros and look at the cons. But if everything is going okay, like I say, 5 grams a day for as long as you could possibly afford it, or as long as you fancy doing it, is always and ultimately going to help you in a gym. You don't need to taper off either. This is another reason I wanted to make this video. I was just doing some reading, as I do, because I'm a massive nerd. And I found an article that said you need to taper off creatine, which would essentially mean when you decide to give it up, on Monday you take 5 grams, and then Tuesday you take 4.75 grams, then Wednesday 4.5 grams, and on and off until you get to 0. That is absolutely preposterous. You do not need to do that. And you also don't need a PCT, which means post-cycle therapy. Once again, creatine is not steroids, all right? You can go on it and you can come off it. And as we are talking about creatine, we've done this before, but I always like to get it out there. I don't believe you need to load creatine. You still buy creatine supplements these days. And on the side, it says like take 15 grams, whatever it is, for a week in order for it to, saturate your muscles quicker. I mean, you can do that, but all this, and it will get in your system quicker. So, you'll get to the green light faster than you would otherwise, but you're just going to burn through that tub of creatine where you could just get into the habit of taking 5 grams a day and let it, last longer. And it's still going to saturate your muscles. This isn't a sprint, ladies and gentlemen. It's a marathon. Just take your time and just let creatine do its stuff. So there you go. That's exactly what I think about that. Should you stop taking creatine, and is there any dangers to it? No, there is not. But again, do not take me at my word, because if you do come off and you feel something's going wrong, go talk to a medical professional, go talk to a doctor. That is always the number one thing to do. Never forget, the most important word in health and fitness is health. That's why we are doing this. And again, if you have any more questions like this, because it's actually quite fun answering it and quite fun doing a little bit of research in case I was wrong, drop a comment below. Don't do anything stupid, like am I going to lose my head if I do a bench press? If you do have some sensible questions that we can turn into videos, like I say, drop a comment and we can get to them as and when. Also, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the bell ding ding so when other videos are going live. There is a video on the screen. Please do give it a click because YouTube loves it. I also, talking about supplements, GorillaMind.com/Simon. Just go Simon to get 10% off. This is what I use, and it's where I get my creatine from, because I take GorillaMind Nitric, which is a non-stimulated pre-workout, the best non-stim pre-workout as far as I'm concerned, and it has creatine in it. So if you care about my regime, I take my 5 grams of creatine before I go to the gym. I've taken it after I've gone to the gym. I've taken it in the morning. I really don't think it makes that big of a difference. If you're more into diet, check out Greatest Sets Power 13 cookbook. Some of my recipes are in there. All the information is in the description below. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at Simon316. If you want to DM me a question like this, my DMs are open. Patreon.com/Simon316. Simon.bigcartel.com for merch. I'm on Cameo. If you would like a shout out, I can just say happy birthday or whatever you would like. Priced quite cheaply because I thought that was fair. But otherwise, yeah, if you haven't tried creatine yet and you want to give it a go, absolutely do it. And don't forget as well, there's loads of different types of creatine. If you don't want to take it as a powder, you can take it as a pill. That's probably it, actually, now I've said that. But I mean, you can get flavored creatine, is my point. So if you don't like the way that it tastes when you mix it into whatever the hell you're doing, you can get like orange flavor. I have a tropical fruit creatine if on days that I don't go to the gym, because I still take creatine on off days. So obviously I don't take pre-workout. Well, you could do, but you shouldn't. And I have tropical flavor creatine, and it tastes okay. But it's not like it makes me go, oh, I hate it. So you can do that. And that's Waffle about creatine. See you soon.